thank everybody for coming out. We welcome you. And at this time, I will call to order this recess meeting of the Anson County Board of Commissioners. And we're here for several things, but most of all to discuss and to hopefully adopt our budget. We have an agenda in front of us, and I think some changes have been made or asked to be made.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Yes, sir.
there are two additions to the agenda I would request. Number one, the PD Electric building, the departments that will occupy that building, the office assignments, and our plans for the fuel system, the fuel tank. And number two, I have a proposal to extend the special COVID leave for another year, beginning July 1, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. Thank you.
A closed session matter for EMS.
Yes, sir.
Also space in the along with Mr. Gatewood for the P electric building.
Bill, I'll include that in under PD Electric.
Okay, thank you.
I'll include that.
Is there a part here where I could ask to bring up the fire training center once again?
That'll be in the budget discussion.
Okay, good.
Okay, at this time, we will entertain a motion to approve the agenda with the changes and additions.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Gatewood, seconded by Commissioner Mims to approve the agenda with the additions and changes. Any further discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. It is unanimous. The agenda is approved. Item 1 is budget amendments. I think we have those in front of us. Is anybody from the county want to speak to those? Ms. Berry or the manager?
No, Mr. Chairman, we don't have any comments unless the board has questions.
Take a minute and take a look at these. Actually, we have a couple of sets of them. One of them is year end. You see all the funds there that's needed to get things in line to close out the year. And then the other one is the budget amendment for new special revenue funds. Okay, once we've reviewed these, we'll entertain a motion for approval. And I will add the year-end budget amendments are nothing out of the ordinary. This is a year-end thing that's done every year as we get ready to close out the year, look at our actual cost versus what's budgeted, and to bring all that in line.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
And the new special revenue bond that funds there is an explanation that agency funds are no longer used with the implementation of GASB 84, which was effective for year ended June 30, 2021. So prior agency funds would now be treated as special revenue funds or custodial funds. the 2020-2021 budget ordinance does not reflect the GASB 84 changes. The proposed amendment will allow finance to implement the GASB 84, and it basically outlines all the different funds there. Okay, Mr. Gatewood.
Mr. Chairman, I accept the recommendation of the county manager and the finance officer, and I make a motion to approve the budget amendments.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Gatewood, seconded by Commissioner Mims to approve the budget amendments. Any further discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. It is unanimous. The budget amendments are approved. Okay, item 2, Ms. Ingram, HR policy revisions.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Board.
Morning. Morning.
This morning, you should have in front of you a draft policy for the longevity plan. In the green is the addition that we're gonna add to allow people who retire throughout the year to get a prorated amount of their longevity. We still have that same eligibility period from December to November, but if someone was to retire during that period, then we'll just prorate for each month of completed service. And then also in the proposed policy, on that first page, you'll see where I have the cap highlighted. Currently, the cap is 1,600. If you could take in consideration for the budget adoption of increasing that cap, the cost for the county would be $39,747. That would affect around 73 employees. We have around 194 that currently receives longevity. If we increase that cap, 59 would go to the new cap, and then 14 employees will see additional amount on their longevity payment. Any questions or concerns as far as the longevity?
Ms. Ingram, I'm pleased to see both recommendations from you. I was the county manager back in 2009 when the cap was established at $1,600, and we said over the next 10 years we'll increase it to $2,000, and it's been 10 years plus. So I'll make a motion that we accept the recommendations from our Human Resources Director and approve both.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Gatewood. Is there a second? I'm a little bit concerned I'm not getting a second, but. Okay, and for lack of a second, the motion dies.
Mr. Chairman,
Let's back up a minute.
can we separate the two?
That's what I was getting ready, okay.
All right, I make a motion that we approve proration of longevity beginning immediately.
We have a motion from Commissioner Gatewood that we approve proration of longevity immediately. Is there a second? Once again, the motion dies for lack of a second. I will say this, I'm concerned that we're not willing to look out for our employees and appreciate them for their service. I don't know, I hope we all realize the message that this board is sending.
Are there any particular concerns that, if I may be so bold as to
Right
ask
ahead,
that
go right
question?
ahead.
What do you mean when you say you just want to split it up?
Well, there were two posts. The first recommendation from Ms. Ingram was to prorate the longevity plan for people that retire, correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct. So say like if you retire in July, then you'll get your longevity prorated from the months of January to July of that service year. Because when we do longevity, we look at the period from December 1 to November 30th. So currently, if you was retired, say like I have retirees that's coming up July 1 right now, they won't get anything as far as their longevity. Only those who are actually on the payroll as of November 30th will get longevity payments. So this policy change will allow them to get a portion of their longevity. They wouldn't get the full amount. They'll just get a portion of that for each month of completed service. That was the first part. And then the second part was increasing the cap. Reached out to employees and also the department heads. And a lot of the employees was pretty much was unanimous. Everybody was in favor of increasing the cap if we could.
Any other questions?
Okay.
Okay.
I do have one more thing for you, not for you to vote on today, but to take in consideration. For your July meeting is when I would normally give you on the consent agenda, the holiday schedule. Normally we follow the state holiday schedule, but back in 2020, we added that when the 4th of July falls on a Tuesday or Thursday, we get either that Monday or that Friday. So the schedule that you have on your packets for July will have us having that Monday and Tuesday next year for the 4th. But now I've also received some inquiries from employees as far as Juneteenth. I know Commissioner Gatewood, we had talked about it last year as well. I did do some research last year when we had first talked about it. At that time, there wasn't other counties doing it. A lot of towns and cities did, but since then, Wake County has adopted it, Durham County has adopted it, and in Granville, one thing they do is a flex holiday. So if it's a federal holiday that the county doesn't observe, they allow that employee to have one flex holiday a year, so they can use that flex holiday for like Juneteenth, Columbus Day, or any other federal holiday that the county doesn't observe. So that's something I just want the board to think about when I send you the holiday schedule, if you wanted to include that or add a flex holiday for those days.
I like the flex holiday idea. Could I make a motion that we go with that?
We'll do it at July meeting.
Okay.
We'll do it at July meeting. I kinda like that as well. I'm used to that in past life, so,
Okay, so in your packets in July, I give you both options.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Ingram.
Thank you.
And Mr. Chairman, at our July meeting, I'd like to revisit proration of longevity pay. It's not gonna cost the county a thing, and it certainly is employee friendly. And number two, I'd like to revisit increase in the cap for longevity from 1,600 to 2,000 in July. Again, it's not gonna break the bank at all. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I'm all right with that, Mr. I just wanna make sure our numbers are in line. July means fine.
And one thing that we'll need to do, and we would have to do that today when we approve the budget, is the $39,747 cost to increase that cap, so which I don't think is a real big issue in my opinion. But,
And proration of longevity will be a nominal expense. Very, very little.
Okay, now we're open for our item 3, our budget ordinance and fee schedule. With a discussion on that, Mr. Manager, if you have anything that you need to add at this time, and Ms. Berry.
Mr. Chairman, I think at our last meeting, I formally presented the recommended budget, and my view of this is that that's still where we're at. I think there were a number of things that the board had talked about, but actually in my recommended budget, the only 2 areas of significant expansion was the 2.5% COLA for employees and the 3 new employees for the Morven QRV. There are other items discussed by the board are not in my recommended budget. So if the board, I sent out a list of things basically that are not in the budget. If the board wants to discuss those and include them, you're certainly free to do that. But as of right now in the recommended budget, many of the things that you all discussed are not included.
Okay, I'll start. I'd like to somehow or other do $75,000 for the fire training facility. I think that needs to happen. Everybody else has stepped up, and I think the county needs to do so as well. And I'll go back to the increase in longevity cap, $39,747. I'd also $15,251 to provide vision to county employees, and that's just for the employee only. Those are the 3 items as far as budgetary is concerned. I've got a couple of others that I'd like us to look at for somewhere else. Well, let me back up. There's another one, the $154,000 additional funding for operations of community college. Some or all of that, as much as we can figure out what we can do. I'd like to do all of it, but I recognize the situation we're in. And then the $300,000 to renovate the Garibaldi building. The community college is currently, and we have been doing renovations on that campus for the last several years. The Garibaldi building has not had any attention, and that's the main building there. And this is the first phase of a long-range plan to bring that building up to speed. And this first phase involves flipping the location of IT and student services. Currently, student services are on the bottom floor, and IT is on the top floor. Well, as time goes by, IT is gonna need to expand, and where it's currently located is not a good location because of ventilation and those types of things. Plus, it's inconvenient for the students when they have to buy books or whatever else they have to do as far as student services to go downstairs and then come back upstairs for everything else. So if we flip them, everything that the student needs will be on one level. IT will be on the bottom level where there's more room for expansion, and it makes for a more suitable location. And I'm thinking that maybe, I don't know if those ARPA funds can be used for this. If they can, I would like for that money to come from there and not out of the county budget. And then the last thing I've got is to get Central Islanders help with the ARPA plan and expenditure of those funds. I know it's what they're charging to do that seems high, but the exposure we've got, if we screw this up, we'll spend a lot more than it'll cost us a lot more than $52,000. That's my 2 cents worth. Anybody else?
Mr. Chairman, I do have one, and
Okay.
we've talked about this repeatedly, and that is a retention bonus for our employees. Hopefully we can pay for it out of the ARPA funds, and our recommendation would be $1,000 per full-time employee. We have 240, so that's $240,000, and $500 for part-time employees. We have 80, so that would come out to $40,000. So for $280,000 plus whatever retirement, etc., we could provide our employees who have worked really hard the last 2 years with a retention bonus.
Your figure sounds a little bit less than what the manager has on his. It's 338,806. Does those figures match with what Commissioner Gate was asking?
Yes, that figure would include the FICA and retirement.
Oh, okay,
So
okay, so,
that's salary, FICA, and retirement, that's the complete cost, yes.
okay, total cost 338,860. Okay, I guess the next question, where do we go from here? Mr. Manager, I mean, I was looking at stuff, I felt like we could probably afford. I'm not sure about this retention plan, because like I said, that's pretty sizable. But it would be good if we can do that.
But I think at this point, it's the board's budget, and if there's consensus of the board is to add these items, then that would become part of the adopted budget. I'm always fond of saying, 4 is something, 3 is nothing. If there are 4 commissioners that support the items that were mentioned, then we could include that as part of the adopted budget.
Ms. Perry, do you see it as a real issue for including the items that we just covered?
Stand up to the podium so you are.
That'll be my only concern, 'cause I wouldn't wanna come back next time and find out something's happening, we don't want to happen, it'd be like a tax increase.
Yeah.
The only concern that I really have, the immediate concern is for the ARPA funds. We really need to work on the policies that are required in the spending plan. So that's gonna be a little bit of work before we can actually start spending that money. And we already have some commitments already made with that money.
Right.
And based on, we're looking at, we selected a revenue option replacement, which means basically as we reimburse us for some salaries, that frees up the money to spend, so that,
Right.
that $4.7 million is not available to spend day one.
Right, I
So when we
understand.
start on the plan, we're gonna have to really look at what we're gonna spend it towards first and sort of plan it out.
Understand?
So that's the only thing is, when we start looking at retention bonuses, is that gonna be what's coming off the top first? But
Okay.
remember, we have the sewer project and other projects that we've already committed to, so those need to be on top as well.
Right, I understand.
So it's just, with the ARPA funds, it's just determining when we wanna spend it and what projects we wanna spend it on and how much.
Okay, so that,
The rest would be, I'm just trying to look at, mainly it's just fund balance appropriation. If you look at our fund balance appropriation, it's very high. We are getting very close and finishing our 2021.
Mhm.
We have all our bank reconciliations done, yay. That's
Okay.
been a
Great job.
feat in itself.
Great job.
We are now looking and trying to do our year-end work, our journal entries and stuff for year-end. So I'm hoping, it's really a lot of work to do with everything with year-end and the new year. But I'm hoping within the next 4 to 8 weeks, we will be completed and actually have everything to the auditors.
Okay.
So we are getting much, much closer, and then we can see what kind of fund balance we have at that time. But we already know that our fund balance is being hit very hard with our commitment for the middle school,
Mhm.
and then just to be able to operate. So the more we commit, today, the more we're using our fund balance.
Right.
And I just wanna always be conservative until we know what we have, and we're getting there.
Okay, go right ahead, go ahead.
And that's your sweet way of saying, no, we can't do it right now. Yeah, just go ahead and say it.
Right.
This is what I would love to give, our employees anything. Our schools, our whatever affect our children or whatever. But you don't keep digging a ditch that you can't get out of.
Mhm.
And that's all it is to it.
Okay,
Thank you.
Does that help?
basically, I'm trying to figure out a way we can move forward, cause I know we have to adopt the budget today and look at doing these things as soon as possible after the beginning of the budget year. Is that possible? Is there a way that we can get there? Say a couple of months from now, 3 months from now, whatever?
Well, as soon as if you approve Central Honor to come on board to help with that,
Well, that was, yeah,
we can actually use the ARPA funds to pay for that.
okay.
So it doesn't have to come out of the general fund. So that is a good thing, we can use that to help pay for that. As soon as, if y'all approve that, I can get to working with them very quickly and bring back policies and hopefully have a day when they can meet with you on working on a plan
Right.
for spending.
Okay,
And as soon as we have that, then we can actually look at, what marks we can hit and when we can actually spend the money and what we're gonna spend it on.
all right, okay. You read my mind, cause that was gonna be my next recommendation, is that we approve the $52,000 for Central Honor to come in and work with us on the ARPA funds and develop on our plan so that these other things might possibly be able to happen. So I'll entertain a motion to that effect.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Sturtevant, seconded by Commissioner Mims, that we contract with Central Honor, Regional Council to, come in and develop our plan and work with us on the ARPA funds. Any further discussion? All in favor, let it know by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried, it is unanimous. We will, Mr. Manager, we will move forward. We'll hire Central Honor Regional Council to come in and work with, us to develop our plan for ARPA funds.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Berry.
Thank
And
you.
we appreciate all you're doing in finance, you and all your people.
And thank you for just giving me the opportunity to be back, and I really enjoy working with everybody, so it's really been a pleasure. It's been stressful, but, everybody's really been great to work with.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, with that, I think we're now ready to approve our budget ordinance and fee schedule. So we need a motion for that.
So moved.
Motion from Commissioner Mims, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Sturtevant to approve our budget ordinance and fee schedule. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried, it is unanimous. The budget ordinance and the fee schedule are approved. And, right here, we're gonna move up to a couple items that were added. First of all is the, PD Electric, office location, storage and fuel. Commissioner Gatewood.
Yes, sir, thank you very much. The PD Electric building is looking really good. I was by there yesterday. There's a cleaning crew getting things ready, hopefully for us to move in the month of July. I believe that's the schedule, Mr. County Manager.
Yes, sir.
Yes. The water department will occupy that building. Building inspections, we currently have 2 employees, and we could have a 3rd one in the future, so we need to make provisions for 3 employees. Environmental health, 1 employee.
Right.
There's a lot more room in that building, and when we went in, the plan to purchase it. We said we're gonna pack it full because it's a really nice building. My only regret is that it's not 2.5 times the size. I'd be advocating to put DSS in there right now, but it's not large enough. But I believe it is large enough for Veteran Services and Brown Creek Soil and Water. And I would strongly recommend the board consider moving those two departments into the new PD electric building.
Well, we talked about Axe as well, right? Axe,
Actually gonna build a building next to, they've got money to build a building there.
so we're gonna, so we have the approval to get the lot next door?
We own it already.
We already
We own it already.
Okay.
Okay, and, go ahead.
You see what he's saying? They gonna build that building, but they'll use back there to park their vehicles.
Yeah,
The
that-
gated fence.
That was what the main concern was, the big open area in the back for a mechanic shop and all the parking and everything, so, and I guess you're talking about the land that already came with the PD, we don't have to purchase it anymore. Okay, good.
Okay, we've heard, Commissioner Gatewood on, recommendation on the office locations that will go there, which kind of nullifies one thing I've been thinking as far as veteran services are concerned, because the reason we're using for Brown Creek Soil and Water is gonna do away with that. The Veteran Services Officer has recently put in a program, for veterans to start up businesses, and they're working real closely with Economic Development, John Merrick. So my thinking was that those two working like they are, it's called, let's see, was it Veteract? I can't remember the name of the program. It's a statewide program that's being implemented, and, obviously that will make sense for her to be where she is, but if we're looking at a different rationale now for Brown Creek Soil and Water, then I guess the same thing would apply to Veteran Services. So that kind of takes away my argument for her. But once again, going back to Brown Creek Soil and Water, if they move, the other entities that they interact with would have to move.
And we do have room for them, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm hearing.
And I did a lot of research on that. It seems that the FSA and RCS and soil conservation districts work together in virtually most of the counties within the state, so it seems like it's a good match, and that business can be taken care of in one spot for the farmers when they come in.
Okay, that's, first part. The next one is storage, and I know that, there is some plans to store health department records and all that stuff there, and, Commissioner Mills has indicated that when, the utilities department moves out of their location is that we use that building for the storage of these records. So I guess Mr. Ponder, you would need to interact with, the health director, an interim health director, to make that recommendation, and just tell them that's what we'd like to do. It makes a lot of sense that way we'd have more room for office space in the PD electric building. Seems like that would work, so just make them aware of that.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, my only concern with using the old water department building for storage of very important documents, sensitive documents,
Okay.
is security. We've had several break-ins in that building over
Okay.
the last few years, and it would be a shame if someone broke in and destroyed, mutilated, or taken records out of it.
Okay.
We need security. So that's my only concern.
Okay, all right, thank you, Commissioner Gable. Point well taken.
Don't they have a alarm system down there?
I don't know.
I can't answer that either. But it might be something to be looked into as well.
But within the last year, I believe we lost over $1,000 from theft. And, they've got the fencing, and if they have an alarm system, they were able to bypass both.
Yeah. Of course, that's another thing too, is, money was not supposed to be kept on site either, so I'm not sure how that happened, but at any rate. Okay, all right, we'll move on with that. Now, the fuel, what were you concerned about fuel?
Well, the fuel tank is at the former water department building. And my question is that a safe place to have the county fuel tank where employees are getting gas at night, in the evenings, in the dark? I just have a concern about security.
I think that's a valid point. I would say that fuel tank would need to be moved. And there are fuel tanks currently at the PD Electric building, but I don't know if it covers what you're talking about.
I talked to him, Mr. Harrington yesterday. It's very expensive to move the tanks, from the current location to the new location. And also, the current location at the PD Electric building will not subside the whole county as far as gas. So it's going, either we have to pay the money to move it all, or you're gonna have to use 2 sites.
Either that or what would it cost the person to get into that,
He didn't
purchasing
say.
new tanks?
He didn't say.
So the ones I looked at, they're not real large, and I'm not sure if there's something else I'm missing though.
But I think you still have to maintain them for 10 years.
Yeah.
Even after you abandon them.
True. Well, the site's gonna be there, it's gonna be ours. Well, that'll be part of what we have to do anyway. So, Mr. Manager, I would say, let's look at that.
Yes, sir.
Fuel tanks, purchasing new, I would think would be the representative. Well, compared to cost to move what we currently have versus to purchase new. Then see that we'll determine that. Once we get those figures, then we'll know which way to go.
Yes, sir.
Okay, COVID leave, Commissioner Gatewood.
Yes, sir, I believe the last 2 years, Ms. Ingram, correct me if I'm wrong, we've had special COVID leave. COVID is still out there. In fact, in the Department of Social Services, we've had a number of cases in the last several months. There's an outbreak at a local facility right now. And I just think it's warranted to continue that special leave for another year. I've gone to the CDC, I've gone to the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services and asked them what can we expect this fall and winter, and no one can tell me with a straight face because they really don't know. So just to be on the safe side, I think we need to extend it, and that is my recommendation, and that's also my motion.
Under the same guidelines as current.
Yes, sir.
Second.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Gatewood, seconded by Commissioner Mims and Commissioner Sturtevant to extend the COVID leave from July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023. Any further discussion? All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries, what we got here, 6, 2, 4, 5 to 1. Commissioner Bricken, voting no. 4 to 1. I mean 4 to 1, I'm sorry. So, but it is approved. COVID leave is extended from July 1st, 2022 to June 30, 2023. All right, thank you. Okay, back to PD Electric. I think as far as taking action on that, we've recommended to the county manager what we'd like to look at, and once that's done, if you'll bring that back to, well, the county manager's office will bring that back to us at a July meeting.
Yes, sir.
And then we'll go from there on that. Okay, I think that takes care of all of our open session business. We're now ready to go into closed session for personnel under North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11, parentheses A, parentheses C, to consider the qualifications, competence, performance, condition of appointment of a public officer or employee or prospective public officer or employee. Once again, we thank everybody for coming, and we appreciate you being here. And if anybody wants to come back in after closed session, we'll notify you when we're done. Thank you all.
So move.
Okay, we've got a motion from Commissioner Mims, and a second by Commissioner Sturgeon to go into closed session. All in favor, let me know by saying aye. Aye. Motion, all opposed, is approved this time. Whenever there's anybody to come back in,
Yes, sir.
we will adjourn.
Do we need a motion for the EMS unit to be back by Monday?
No,
No.
you done
No, we
told
don't.
me.
That's already in play. We'd already decided that in the previous meeting, so.
I'll make
Mr.
the
Podger's
motion that we
gonna address that, and, should take place.
Okay.
The only thing, like I said, is, you know, it's that whenever a call's gotta be made, it'll be going to make that call, and it'll come back.
Yeah.
Okay.
You mean move to a halfway point?
Well, whatever involved in all that, I don't know. All I know is if it's gotta make a call, it'll make a call. Then I guess somebody has to be the halfway point to pick it up while it's going.
Right.
Okay. Now,
Make a motion
to
that we-
adjourn.
to adjourn.
Motion from Commissioner Sturgeon to adjourn, that's the second from Commissioner Mills. All in favor, let me know by saying aye. Aye. We are